Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Hey, yes. Hi, Suzanne. Welcome. Hi, Miss Mona. Good morning, everybody. Hi, Felice. Yolanda. Hey, board member Carla. Good morning, everyone. Come on into this space. Yes. We welcome you in a moment, but right now we are watching all your beautiful faces joining us for the 10th annual Wear Red Day celebration event today. Come on in. Hi, sister-in-law. I see you over there. Come on, Mama Carla. We see you. Good morning, everyone. Welcome, and we hope you're feeling golden this morning on this beautiful Saturday as we come into this space to protect our hearts together. We're taking a moment to allow our guests to enter, to allow our Facebook audience to tune in as we see more folks joining us this morning. As you're waiting for us to begin, get the groove into your shoulders. The celebration today as we are coming together to protect our hearts and to beat heart disease together as Black women. Welcome, Victor. Hi, William. Good morning, everyone. All right, I think we're good. We're good, Aaron. Wow, good morning, everyone, and welcome on behalf of the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness to the 10th annual Wear Red Day Heart Disease Prevention and Awareness event. Yes, clap it up, Carla. We are so thrilled every year to host this wonderful event and to see your beautiful faces join us for what is one of our most important events of the year. My name is Lisa Payton Kerr, CEO and President of the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness. And we're here today with our team, WAVE team. Yes, to really delve into a topic that is near and dear to our hearts during National Heart Month, and that is to talk about heart disease and its impact on the lives of Black women. But first, we welcome you into our space always here at the Foundation, where our purpose is to empower a generation of well Black women and to build a community, a nation, and a world where Black women are healthy, thriving, and free. We continue to see guests joining us. We're expecting about 100 plus women today from all over Wisconsin, from all over the United States for this event, which each year draws women to us who are concerned about their health, who understand that heart disease is the #1 risk to Black women in our country. Statistically, we are at greater risk than all other groups of women. And we'll talk about the facts today as we welcome 3 incredible guests, Dr. Sandy Charles, Pastor Baloris Mann, and Venus Washington, who will join us later today. And we'll introduce all of these wonderful ladies in just a short bit. Why is this event so important to us? For those of you who have followed the work of the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness over the years, you know our story. And for those who haven't, you'll learn a bit about our story today as we ask questions and as we engage with our guests. We have lost so many women in our families and our communities to heart disease. And for those who've heard my story, you know that my mother's death at the age of 64 of congestive heart failure was really the catalyst that started the work of the foundation. And her story, we learned, was not the exception, but the rule for how so many Black women's lives were playing out in our community, impacted at younger ages than other women by chronic illnesses like heart disease. We also know that there are women on our call today who are survivors. If you're a survivor of heart disease, wave your hands. You've been sending your stories in, your testimonies. And we see a gentleman too, Mr. William Carlson, who's waved his hands. And we know that we have friends on the call who've attended this event in the past, who've told us that something that was said or information that was shared or a testimony that was given saved their lives because they remembered a tip, a piece of information, some medical information that in the moment of crisis, they knew how to act, they knew what to do, and it caused the difference. It made the difference in them being here today. So we welcome all of you into the space who have overcome heart disease. And that is our purpose today, to save our own lives through information, inspiration, and the tools we need to protect our hearts. But before we get started, we want to thank our sponsors. Of course, all of our events and our programming throughout the year is made possible by generous sponsors, and we'd love to give them a nod today. UW Health, Madison Gas and Electric, WPS Health Solutions, we thank you. We know that each of our sponsors have representatives here today. Yes, let's clap up our sponsors. Let's type thank you in the chat. Our work is made possible by many organizations throughout the year who invest in our ability to provide these events free, low cost, to pour into our community. And we always want to thank them, of course, for their generosity. So again, help us thank UW Health, Madison Gas and Electric, and WPS. We're also supported today by two community partners, our Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, whose president, Yolanda Shelton, is with us this morning, and Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, managed and led by the wonderful Nichelle Nichols, president. I know they're in a chapter meeting this morning, but Yolanda and Delta Sigma Theta are in the house, and we will give you an opportunity, President Shelton Morris, to say a few words to us this morning. Can we release her mic, please?
Oh, I'm so surprised. Well, good morning and welcome everyone. My name again is Yolanda Shelton Morris, and I have the honor of serving as the chapter president for the Madison Alumni chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. And I serve as the state coordinator overseeing the 7 states throughout the state of Wisconsin. It is a pleasure to be here with you all today. Thank you to Ms. Lisa Payton Kerr and her awesome team and board for creating this space for Black women. Physical and mental health is one of our sorority's programmatic thrusts, and we are committed to providing resources and programming for not only for our sisters in the sorority, but also just for our communities that we serve throughout the state and throughout the world, centered around physical and mental health. So it is a pleasure and an honor to be here today. Aaliyah, I saw your picture on Facebook with your new shirt, and I just placed my order. So I want to say thank you. Those shirts look amazing, and I cannot wait to wear mine. So thank you for allowing me to say hello.
Thank you, President Yolanda Shelton Morris from Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. We see all the Deltas raising their hands, cheering on their president, and we want to thank the Deltas each year and AKA for joining us in this incredible event. This is the first year that we've done this event virtually, you all. For the last 9 years, this was an in-person event that we would host at one of our local churches. We changed locations each year. And imagine a sea of women in beautiful red coming together to celebrate and to learn. It's a joyful occasion. We'd usually cap off the event in person with a photo shoot. So we have 9 years of beautiful photos of Black women in red coming together to beat heart disease. And today, at the end of this call, we will take a group photo. So please stay to the end so we can capture this beauty that's on our screen today. And although we're not together in the flesh, we are here in spirit together, and we know today will be equally as powerful as it has been in the past. And we're grateful, 10 years. We're celebrating a decade of empowering Black women's health and literally saving lives. I cannot tell you the testimonies we receive each year from this event I alluded to earlier, and we know that there will be new testimonies to share today amongst you. We also quickly want to thank the American Heart Association, Madison and Milwaukee chapters for supporting us in getting in touch with a few of our speakers today. Pastor Baloris Brooks has spoken often to share her story through the American Heart Association over the last several years. And we thank them for their connections and their support in sharing today's event out with our community. With that being said, before we begin, we have several important announcements that our wonderful Chief Programs Officer, Aaliyah Stevenson, will share with us now.
So great to be here. So excited to see people from across the nation here, from Chicago, South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, etc. So super excited to be seeing that. I already placed in the chat where to get this fabulous t-shirt, where you can purchase this fabulous t-shirt. So please do pick yourself up one, family members, friends, do that. And then of course, I'm also modeling our partners wear, and that is Ashro. So you can also get yourself a pretty fly jacket or shirt to accompany our beautiful shirts as well. So that is what we're going to be focusing on now. At the end, we're going to be talking more about how you can get involved in our fitness and nutrition programming free of charge to support your heart health and your overall wellness goals through our project Live Well. But stay tuned. We are going to be keeping an eye on you all today. So keep your cameras on. Our Foundation for Black Women's Wellness team is looking for the most live person on this program today. We are also looking for the person with the most fabulous red outfit, and also the person who is most engaged. We're going to keep an eye on you all for that, because we will be giving out prizes at the end of our program today. Erin will tell you more about those in a bit, but those prizes are where we all shop. So be excited, be prepared. We will also have prizes just randomized at the end as well. So 3 special prizes for the most engaged, the most live, and the best read, and then also some just randomized number pulling for folks as well. So keep in touch, stay on, stay focused, be engaged, and you may win something.
Yes, yes. For those who've been to our in-person event in the past, you know we give great prizes, so you don't want to miss that at the end of today's event. We also encourage you, as Aaliyah said, to grab your Well Black Woman red t-shirt. That is a newly issued design that we just released this week. As you all know, we are very committed to the message of empowering a generation of well Black women. And when you wear this shirt, it sends a clear, indisputable message that you are committed to protecting your health as a well Black woman. So get that shirt. The red is vibrant, it's beautiful. It's in honor of National Health Month, Heart Month, but of course it's beautiful to wear every day. And again, another plug also for our partners, Ashro, who are on the call with us today, national fashion brand Ashro. Suzanne Sawyer is here representing Ashro, who did provide the beautiful jacket that Aaliyah is wearing. Stand up, Aaliyah, show us a little bit, show us a little bit, yes. We have just entered into an incredible partnership with Ashro to advance Black women's health together to their customers across the United States. And we encourage you to visit their website and their blog, where we'll be featured throughout the year with health messages to help you get on the right track with your health. So visit astro.com and you'll be seeing and hearing a great deal about them throughout the year. Now, for what you came here for today, we have 3 incredible guests who have graced us with their presence, who have powerful testimonies, powerful stories, and a storehouse of expert information that will really support you in understanding heart disease, understanding your risk, and understanding the importance in stopping right now to assess your health to ensure that you're in the best position possible to protect your heart. With us today is Dr. Sandy Charles, who's a board-certified cardiologist and medical director of the Novant Health Women's Heart and Vascular Center in Charlotte, North Carolina. Dr. Charles attended Princeton University for college, where she majored in molecular biology. She then attended medical school at Columbia University. She completed her residency in internal medicine at Columbia University, New York Presbyterian Hospital, and subsequently completed her cardiology fellowship at New York University Medical Center. In addition to being board certified in cardiovascular disease, Dr. Charles is also board certified in echocardiography, nuclear medicine, and internal medicine. So summing it up, she's an expert in every way. And we are so graciously grateful that she decided to join us today. We've been talking for several months. We've been following you, Dr. Charles, on LinkedIn, on Facebook, and Instagram. And we note the incredible amount of education and engagement you have with your community, locally and nationwide, in educating patients and women on how to guard their health. We are very honored to have you here with us today. Do follow Dr. Charles on Instagram, where she has 11,000 followers. She blesses with important health tips on a daily basis. Pastor Baloris Brooks Mann. Pastor Baloris is a Milwaukee native, a heart attack survivor, and is the assistant pastor of Spirit of Truth Ministries in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. She also currently works for the Salvation Army of Milwaukee County as the chaplain program director. This program is in partnership with the Milwaukee Police Department to respond to disasters where spiritual support is needed. She's a graduate of Milwaukee Lutheran High School, Concordia University, and the Charles Lampley School of Theology. Baloris' story is powerful. She's a mother of two, an active member of her community, and the author of three published books: Beautiful Nightmares, The Strength of a Woman, and PTSD, Pressing Through Singleness and Divorced. Those 3 books are available on Amazon.com. And as you read Baloris' books, you begin to understand her life story, which was tied into her health story that you'll learn a bit about today. 10 years ago, at the age of 40, Baloris was diagnosed with coronary artery disease, which led to an emergency triple bypass open heart surgery for a 90% blockage in her heart. Today, you can find her at the gym, taking her health very seriously with her husband, Frank Mann, who's a professional bodybuilder and personal trainer. Baloris says that has been a significant part of her recovery, and she is here to tell us more about her incredible recovery story today. We will introduce Venus Washington later, who will join us in the next hour. But for now, we want to start the discussion with our 2 guests here today. So Dr. Charles. Yes, we are so grateful to have you here. Tell us a little bit about yourself and why being a part of today's Wear Red Day event is so important to you.
Yes, good morning. Thank you so much, Lisa, and to the organizers of this wonderful event. It's a pleasure and an honor to be here with you today. So I am a cardiologist. I've been a doctor for 12 years now. I am a wife, a mother of 2 young kids, ages 4 and 2. And I was particularly motivated to become a cardiologist because of how cardiovascular disease affected my own family. At a young age, I watched my dear grandmother suffer from multiple effects of cardiovascular disease, and she painfully died much younger than she should have. At that young age, I knew that I wanted to make a change. Like you said, Lisa, heart disease is the #1 cause of death in the United States, but Black women are disproportionately affected by it. And I wanted to change that statistic in every way, in any way possible. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk here. I look forward to sharing some wonderful tips how to be heart healthy.
Absolutely. And as Dr. Charles says, so many of us have been impacted by heart disease throughout our family systems. We're seeing in the chat many of your posts and your messages about family members who've been impacted, family members you've lost. And we know that we honor those family members, and in their honor, it is our responsibility to protect our health and do everything we can to ensure we live long and strong. So with that, Pastor Baloris, please help us understand why being here today in this space is so very important to you.
Again, I want to welcome everyone that is here. Thank you so much for joining us and definitely having me on. The reason why this is important to me is because women are not celebrated enough. We don't celebrate one another enough, especially when we're going through struggles. Like you said, we understand being mothers, daughters, taking care of elderly. And sometimes we just need that encouragement that someone sees you, someone cares in order to help them through the stresses of their life. So being able to have this conversation together gives motivation and encouragement to someone that just needed that one word that can be life-changing to them, not just their physical health, but also their mental and emotional health. So that's why being here is so important to me, because I want any one of us, myself, the doctor, anyone, to be able to say that one word that someone needs to be able to take away in order to be able to change their life and save their life.
Absolutely. And we're asking all of you as you're listening today, we hope you have a notepad nearby, or maybe you can take notes on your phone. This is going to be information packed, and we want you to remember what you hear. There's a wonderful person who's likely going to log on in a little bit. Her name is Shahana Mckenny Baldwin. She's one of our longtime supporters of the foundation who's attended this event each year. She recently posted on Facebook how last year she was having an episode, a major health crisis, but she didn't know what it was. All she remembered in the moment as she was feeling these unusual, uncomfortable sensations was something that was said at the previous Wear Red Day event that she had attended. It was the words that she remembered that pushed her to get into her car, to drive herself to the hospital, where she was immediately diagnosed of having a heart episode, and they were able to solve her problem quickly because she acted fast. We want you all to remember that today as you're listening and learning, taking those notes, and really taking seriously this valuable information that we're providing. Dr. Charles, one of our intentions today is to illustrate to women that heart disease is not an old white man's disease, and it's not an elderly person's disease, and that Black women are most impacted. We've said that several times because we want it to sink in clearly. Why is it so important for Black women on this call today to understand that age is not what we think it is in regards to heart disease?
Yes, Lisa. So heart disease, #1 cause of death for Black women. Every year, 50,000 Black women die from heart disease. And of Black women aged 20 and older, 49% have heart disease. So let that sink in. Almost 1 in 2 of Black women aged 20 and older. However, only 1 in 5 women thinks that they can personally be affected by heart disease. So we really have to work and raise awareness. And one of the reasons in particular that we always thought that it was a man's disease is because men are more likely to have chest pain as the manifestation from heart disease. But as we will hear later on, I know Pastor Baloris, you will mention this, you can be having a terrible heart attack and have no chest pain at all. You can have difficulty breathing, you can have extreme fatigue, indigestion, nausea, vomiting. So really raising that awareness that heart disease can manifest in a lot of ways, and sometimes doctors are not even thinking that it can be your heart. So always knowing that you have to be your #1 advocate. And interesting fact is only 2% of doctors in the US are Black women. And unfortunately, sometimes it's seeing that person who's coming in there as your sister, as your mother, and really making that connection to take the best care and to engage and empower them to be healthy. So we have a lot of work to do on multiple fronts, but I'm so glad we can raise awareness about the issues at hand.
Absolutely. And Dr. Charles is going to walk us through a PowerPoint in just a little bit. You're beginning to hear facts about heart disease, which she'll lay out more succinctly in just a little bit. But I want you to take hold of something she said. 1 in 2, every 1 in 2 Black women is affected in her lifetime by heart disease. If you look at this beautiful picture today, these faces in front of you, and we said this earlier this week at our morning coffee call that Aaliyah alluded to earlier, which featured 3 heart attack survivors. 1 in 2 women means you can count off on this screen every 1 in 2 women that you see. And that is statistically the number of women with faces that you can see who could potentially be impacted or living already with heart disease, whether they know it or not, diagnosed or undiagnosed. And we want that to push you into action and to really looking deeply and scheduling that annual exam. If you haven't seen your doctor this year, if you've been having some feelings that you don't quite understand, and particularly if you're a woman over 40, particularly, it's time to take a closer look. We are working to prevent that 1 in 2 women who are impacted by heart disease each year. Why does this matter so much to you, Baloris, that younger women know? All women, okay, but younger women who typically don't see themselves in the question of heart disease. Why must they be in this conversation today?
You have to be in this conversation today. Reason being, as you know, I'm sharing my story, and as they said, age 40, I just turned 40 March that year, and I had triple bypass surgery in May of that year. So, and being 90% clogged, that did not happen overnight. So if we look at it and let's give that, 5 to 10 years that it took for my heart to get that bad, then we need to start this story at age 30. So age 30 is where now we're down to as where you need to start taking your heart health serious. And I love that, Dr. Charles said 1 in 2, because my last numbers was 1 in 5. So now it's gotten even worse. We're in 1 in 2 starting at age 30 can possibly be forming heart disease. And so it's important, again, because again, that number, and I see people, in the comments saying 1 out of every 2 is unacceptable. Okay, that's unacceptable. So now we can't be ignorant to the fact that, as Lisa said, you got to go to the doctor. You have to get your health checkup. You have to ask questions. You have to do the research yourself. I know that Dr. Charles has her PhD, but I have a PhD in me. I know when I don't feel good. I know when something is not right. I know when I need to get answers. And you have to push that envelope and get those answers, get those tests until you feel at peace with it. And again, and if your doctor is not listening to you, then I need you to find another doctor. And that's exactly what I had to do in order to get the results that I needed. So again, that is your right, because this is your one body that you get on this earth, and it is your responsibility to take care of it.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness, Baloris. And we're celebrating you today. Let's celebrate Baloris, please, because she is a 10-year survivor of heart disease who's really made a full life turnaround. She'll talk about that later. At age 50, she is here to tell the story about what once was and what now is. And we know you'll be blessed by that story today. She and Dr. Charles also alluded to something that we'll talk about as we go, is the importance of listening to your body and demanding excellent care. Thank you, Dr. Charles, for reminding us how few African-American women and men are represented in the ranks of our physician community in our country. And we know that many times that makes a difference in our care. So we'll talk a bit later about how we must be our first best advocates as we navigate our healthcare and finding doctors who are truly listening to and attentive to our needs as patients. And we see people in the chat say, amen, that's right, absolutely. Congratulations also to you, Baloris, and other pieces. So with that, Dr. Charles, why are Black women disproportionately impacted by heart disease? What do we know about genetic, environmental, and social factors that make us more susceptible?
Yeah, so that is a heavy question. There's a lot that goes into it, and a lot that scientists and doctors are still finding out each day. One of the things are the risk factors for heart disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, obesity. These are things that unfortunately we are disproportionately affected by. We have a higher burden of these risk factors for heart disease, and that leads to the equation. Some think that it's genetics of salt retention that put us at risk. Another thing is we cannot deny the effects of racism and discrimination as stressors, and how that leads to things like high blood pressure and overeating, biases in healthcare and in medicine, and people being undertreated for their symptoms. And then also knowing that, like you said, Pastor Baloris, we have to be our number one advocates. We have to know all of the details about ourselves, and we really have to invest time and energy towards being healthy. It takes work, it takes consistency, but it's so important because we and our bodies are our most valuable assets.
Absolutely, and we see lots of questions coming in. And before the event, as folks were registering for today, we asked them questions in the registration of what's their top health concerns. And Dr. Charles, a lot of women talked about obesity, weight management, the energy to exercise, stress, how to manage stress, eating habits, nutrition. Many of them stated that they were already living with high cholesterol, high blood pressure. So we know that those are many of the questions that the women on the call have today. So we're going to give you an opportunity to share your presentation right now so we can get a lot of these questions answered. So we will allow Dr. Charles to share her screen. And here we go. Thank you, Dr. Charles.
Wonderful. So today I'm going to give a presentation about heart disease, focusing on 3 things everyone should know. So I hope everyone has a notepad to take notes, and I hope it's full of wonderful tips that you can implement in your everyday life. So one, we talk about heart disease, but what exactly is it? What causes it? What are the symptoms? And I'm going to put an extra highlight about how can it be prevented. So very important. So heart disease, we've said this numerous times already, the #1 cause of death in the United States, kills more people than all forms of cancer combined. 1 out of 3 women will die from heart disease, but we know that it's more prevalent in Black women compared to white women. So what is it? Pastor Baloris talks about, having that blockage in her vessel. So our whole body on the left side of the screen is made up of a plumbing system. That's the red thing. And as we move to the right side, there's something called atherosclerosis. We all want that normal artery, which is on the left side, but sometimes, as the years go by and unhealthy habits factor in, we get this gunk buildup full of cholesterol and fat, and that makes plaque. That makes it hard for blood flow to travel. And as we look at the heart in particular here, the heart has its own little plumbing system. And on that top row is a nice healthy artery with the red blood cells traveling through. But over time, we get that yellow stuff, that plaque buildup, and it could be mild and then it can become severe. And as we see in that bottom part, severe plaque can lead to heart attack symptoms and death. So very important for us to know that atherosclerosis and that plaque buildup, that starts very early. Studies have shown that early signs of plaque buildup start as early as age 10 and 11. So many of us are mothers, grandparents, understanding that healthy lifestyle and healthy eating habits are not only important for us in our 20s, 30s, 40s, and above, but really being that role model and starting those healthy habits young for our kids so that we can spare them from those effects. So as I mentioned in the beginning, knowing that heart disease and heart attack can be much more than chest pain. It could be jaw pain, back pain, arm pain. I've had women having a heart attack that have finally come in after days and days of thinking that they had a pulled muscle in their shoulder and it was actually their heart. If you feel like you're breathing heavier, it's taken more effort to go upstairs or to do things that you typically do and you're breathing harder and harder, that could be your heart. So go in and get that evaluated. Some women have indigestion. They think that they have bad acid reflux and it's their heart that's under distress. Sometimes it could just be severe fatigue. I've had women think that they were coming down with the flu and they just tried to sleep it off for a day and they were in the midst of a raging heart attack. So really letting your mind know that anything that really does not feel normal for you is something that you cannot ignore and you have to get further evaluated. Things like lightheadedness, nausea, or vomiting, they all fall into that equation. And women, I know for myself, we are busy, we wear multiple hats, but we frequently suffer from superwoman phenomenon where we're taking care of everyone else and ourselves fall bottom on the list. Do not ignore anything that's bothering you and be sure to get that evaluated. So the big thing about heart disease that makes it different from cancer and a lot of other top causes of death is that 80% of heart disease is preventable. I want to repeat that. So 80% of heart disease is preventable. So really knowing all of the things that we can do to help prevent it for ourselves. Controlling the risk factors. I talked about blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, weight. We'll go into that. Healthy eating. We'll go into that. Exercise, avoiding smoking and excessive alcohol, and how we are feeling. That's something that's not frequently discussed, but depression, anxiety, stress, especially now magnified by this COVID pandemic. And we're seeing how Black women, again, in our community is being disproportionately impacted by COVID and all the stresses that come with that. Really acknowledging that, getting it treated to help reduce our risk of heart disease. So high blood pressure. We all should know what our recent blood pressures are, just like we know our dress size. And that's because high blood pressure is something that you frequently cannot feel. It's called the silent killer. You could have it for years and years and years, but unless you get it checked out and diagnosed from a doctor, it may be uncontrolled and you may not know. Unfortunately, Black women are 60% more likely to have high blood pressure compared to white women. 49% of young Black women versus 28% of their white counterparts are more likely to have high blood pressure. Black women are unfortunately more likely to have really high blood pressure that's difficult to treat, requiring multiple medicines. And you know, as previously mentioned, there are multiple reasons for that. You know, racism, discrimination, but a lot of what I see also is from a high sodium diet. So as a cardiologist, I take a lot of time talking to my patients about food because these are easy things that we can change. We have to understand that our taste buds for food develop at a young age. So if you're used to eating salty foods, guess what? Healthy foods are going to taste like cardboard, but with time that can change. So really being aware about how much salt is in food. As a busy mom, sometimes I don't have time to cook. I used to, you know, we have a lot of Chick-fil-A's by us, and every now and then I would get the spicy chicken sandwich. And then one day I pulled up the nutritional information and I realized that that chicken sandwich, similar to McDonald's chicken sandwich and Burger King chicken sandwich, that one sandwich had 80% of your entire day's recommended amount of salt. And quite honestly, a sandwich that I didn't even think was that salty, that's before you include the fries, and that's only one meal of your day. So really trying to stay away from processed foods, and quite frankly, even foods like cold cuts and processed meats. I used to love eating turkey sandwiches, but knowing that 2 little pieces of turkey have almost a quarter of your whole day's worth of salt in it. You know, the bacons, the sausages, even if they're turkey bacons, those have a lot of salt in it. So being mindful of that. Diabetes. Diabetics are 2 to 4 times more likely to die from heart disease. And unfortunately, Blacks are 60% more likely to be diagnosed with diabetes. We should all know what our blood sugars are. Something called your A1C. That's the number of what your average blood sugars are in 3 months. You should make sure that that's being regularly checked by your doctor, and knowing that as you look on the right of that screen, having an A1C 6.5 or greater gives you a diagnosis of diabetes. But just like high blood pressure, diabetes does not have to be something permanent. It can be reversed. You can get rid of your diabetes, sometimes, not always, but with healthy diet and a healthy lifestyle change. I come from a Caribbean family, and growing up, no food was off limits. I was used to drinking soda at a very young age, but we need to realize that something as simple as Coca-Cola that's so, you know, widespread and available, 20 ounces of Coca-Cola has the same amount of sugar as 18 chocolate chip cookies. Let that sink in. You know, you may not think of it as something so bad, but if you're drinking it constantly, you are putting yourself at exceedingly high risk of diabetes, obesity. There's no nutritional value in it. And understanding, you know, that's not just the sugary sodas. That's even a lot of the drinks that seem to be healthy, orange juices, apple juices. You know, these are things that our young kids are drinking a lot of at a young age. So that in a huge way contributes to our increased risk for diabetes. You know, we talked about cholesterol level. We need to know what to actually look at when we talk about cholesterol. There's something called LDL, that's the bad cholesterol. Ideally, it should be less than 100. Know what your LDL level is. Know if it's too high and if you should be working on it, if you need to get it treated. That is the stuff that also leads to the plaque buildup in the arteries, like I talked about. Know what foods have an excessively high amount of cholesterol. Eggs, we eat a lot of eggs. I know personally growing up, I used to have scrambled eggs all the time. The egg yolk is particularly packed with cholesterol. One egg yolk has about 60% of your whole day's recommended amount of cholesterol. So really being mindful about that. If you have high cholesterol, have more egg whites. That is a wonderful way to try to keep that under control. Shrimp also has a lot of cholesterol in it. So even though some people might think that it's kind of in the fish category, it's seafood, it's healthy, it has a lot of cholesterol. So as you can see, for me, a big part is raising awareness. Know what you are putting into your body, which is so sacred. I, as a cardiologist, look at that nutritional information in everything I eat, because even the things that you think are healthy, salads at restaurants, they could be worse than the burgers. So knowing how much cholesterol is in it, knowing how much sodium is in it, and really educating yourself, going on the internet and looking at, you know, how much, you know, what's in those fast foods or restaurant foods that you're eating. That is really the main way you're going to be able to make healthy decisions. And again, for me, coming from a Caribbean family, I had to really completely change the way I ate, change the way I set up my plate. You know, my family used to eat a lot of rice, understanding that a recent study showed that a healthy diet is a diet that's rich in a lot of vegetables, all different kinds of vegetables, using olive oil instead of other oils. Fish is a great thing if you like fish. It has a lot of omega fatty acids, things that are protective, and really trying to stay away from the things higher in salt and cholesterol, like cheese, eggs, red meat, processed meat. Water is the best thing. Tea that doesn't have a lot of sugar. And there's something called intermittent fasting, which really means just trying to keep your eating times of the day between 9 and about 6, and trying not to snack in unhealthy ways at other times. Weight is a very important thing that we should know about, because obesity disproportionately affects Black women. 80% of Black women are overweight or obese. So really knowing what that means. I know culturally in my family, you were always kind of teased if you were too skinny, but understanding what it means to have a healthy weight, there's something called body mass index, knowing that calculation, putting it in, to looking at how to calculate that on a computer, you put in your weight and your height. A normal body mass index should fall under 25. If yours is over that, that means you're overweight or obese or morbidly obese, and coming up with healthy ways to change that. I don't want to hear that you're not eating or just going on a fluid diet or starving yourself. Not good. Finding a healthy way to change that, and understanding that if you do a lot of weightlifting and if you have a lot of muscle, your body mass index may be high, but that might actually be healthy weight. So there are some exceptions to the rule. Exercise is so powerful, one of the most powerful things. Studies show that only about 36% of Black women meet the exercise recommendations. Everyone, for normal health maintenance, we're supposed to exercise at least 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. I know growing up, that's not something that I saw a lot of, depending where you live, not wanting to exercise outside, or if it's too cold, or if you just got your hair done, you don't want to mess that up. But understanding that consistent exercise in any way you can do it, whether that's dancing, going up and down the stairs in your home, walking around your home, doing yoga, consistent exercise is mandatory to maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Exercise, alcohol, we all know smoking is bad, but too much alcohol is really bad. A lot of my patients drink a lot of red wine, understanding that 5 ounces of wine for women is your maximum of wine per day. If you are drinking more than a bottle of wine, if a bottle of wine is not lasting you at least a week, that means you're drinking too much wine, and that could increase your cholesterol, increase your high blood pressure, increase blood pressure. So that's something important to know. So with that, I'm going to say we need to know that all of us can be affected by heart disease. Starting at a very young age, plaque starts building up. A lot of it is preventable. We need to learn to eat to live, and not just live to eat all of those tasty foods. We need to kind of switch up our eating habits, and knowing that being healthy takes effort, commitment, and consistency. So with that, I just want to thank you for taking the time to listen, and I will go back to everyone else.
Oh my goodness, Dr. Charles. Dr. Charles, our chat is on fire with questions and comments about your presentation. There's so much wealth of information that you've dropped in just a few minutes. And we want to ask just a couple questions before we hear from Baloris. So Aaliyah, can we go back first and hear what's happening in the chat? What are people saying? I see incredible questions. Maybe we can ask 3 of them of Dr. Charles and sprinkle in a few later.
Yeah, I think there's one thing. So there's a little bit of sadness right now around the eggs and the shrimp.
I know.
We're processing through that grief right now.
Yes.
Like that. But we don't know what portion sizes, etc. So there's a lot of questions around how much water, what types of fish, and more nutrition guidelines.
Really quickly, I want to say, that was a broad overview. Everyone is different. Everyone has different susceptibilities to cholesterol. I always say moderation is key. Some people can have lots of eggs and have no issues with their cholesterol. Some people have eggs and it really factors into that equation. So really, this is just a launching pad to starting that discussion with your medical provider and figuring out a personalized care plan for everyone. So I think that's really important before everybody freaks out. But I think it's just important to know these details.
Thank you for that. There's also questions just about with heart disease, starting so early in our lives. Me at 26, younger folks are wondering what screening should you have maybe in your 30s if we're more likely to get heart disease. Folks are really interested about the actual clogging of arteries. How does that happen?
Yeah.
So there's so many questions in here.
Yeah.
You could spend an entire hour.
Yeah. So what I will say, as a cardiologist, and I said it before, everyone is different. Everyone has different risk factors. The highlight of that is that healthy habits should start at day 1. And a lot of misconceptions that, quite frankly, we have growing up. I grew up as a kid, I was having Twinkies, Oreos, all of that stuff was my childhood. And now I look at my kids saying, no, they can have water, they can have milk, they can have a lot of fruit as their snacks to help them set healthy habits healthy. So with the question about screening, I will say that it is hard to know, to blanketly say what people should get. If you have symptoms, talk to your doctor, know your risk factors, know what diseases run in your family. You could look healthy, feel healthy, but if people in your family were having heart disease before age 50 and 60, you may need extra protection. So there's something called a calcium score that looks for plaque even before you have any symptoms. There are special kind of ultrasounds that look at the carotid artery in your neck to see if you have a predisposition for plaque buildup. But understanding that a lot of the things that even if they start early can be reversible. So knowing that anything, though it is diagnosed, can really be changed by a healthy diet and exercise and healthy habits altogether.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Charles.
Absolutely. I am so distracted by the chat because not only are we getting excellent questions, we're also getting comments from women who have lived through heart disease. We are hearing from my dear friend Tam, who has struggled with hypertension and is managing that condition after much trial and error and learning how to control diet, starting a regular exercise routine, working hard to manage stress. I'm so proud of you, Tam. She has she can measure her heart, her hypertension at home, her high blood pressure, and there's been some suggestions of folks to do that, particularly if you're not feeling well, don't wait, go get your blood pressure checked. You said something, Dr. Charles, earlier, that oftentimes we miscalculate what our symptoms mean, the sensations that we're feeling, and we'll go home and say, I'm just tired, let me lay down. I want you all to hear me clearly that so many women that I know personally, whose hair I shampooed growing up in my mother's hair salon, left my mother's shop to say, Roberta, that was my mother's name, girl, I've had this headache for days, for weeks, it won't go away. I've taken Tylenol, I've taken BC, I've done everything possible. I'm just gonna go home and lay down. Many of those women went home to lay down and they did not wake up again. These are real stories, and I can tell you their names. And my sister-in-law and my brother, who I think is listening in, know that this story is absolutely true. Listen to your body, to your symptoms. Call your healthcare provider, call your friend, call someone. If you're alone and you're frightened, and then call the doctor, call 911 if you have to. Act when you feel sensations that are not normal. Don't wait weeks for it to go away. Take action. That's critically important. We heard that the other day as we had a stroke survivor on our call, and we know that stroke is another discussion, a part of this cardiovascular conversation that is crucial to have in our community. Baloris, you've been exceedingly patient listening to this information. I know that you were probably recalling much of your own experience as we were listening. And so I want to ask you to tell us about your health crisis, because it in many ways mimics exactly what Dr. Charles talked about. A young woman who had a blockage, didn't know, were experiencing a lot of things you didn't understand and couldn't identify. Tell us what happened.
So the first thing that happened, because, when I was looking at that question, I said, I have to kind of remember back when I went to the doctor and I had tests and the doctor said, your cholesterol is high, you need to lower your cholesterol. And that was it, with no education behind it to really give me, what does that mean? What does that affect? It was like, lower your cholesterol. And I'm thinking, since I'm still an active woman at that time, I was playing baseball and, doing all that. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's something I can run off. I didn't know. So number one, never again, like I said, earlier before, never let the doctor say anything that you don't have full understanding of. Ask them to explain it. Ask them what is the normal average for that. I love that the doctor put the numbers up there because mine has always been over 190. And as you see, that's high cholesterol, but not understanding what that meant or how do I take control of that. I probably could have prevented it by age 40. So what happened is that in January, I just did not feel good. And I live in Wisconsin, cold Wisconsin. And so it's normal to have flu-like symptoms in January, in the wintertime. So I'm just thinking I just have flu-like symptoms. Like I said, I'm just, fatigue, nausea, kind of a little upset stomach, just kind of like that blah feeling, but you really can't get that blah out. You kind of want it to come out, but it won't. And so I figured, at that time I go to the doctor, see if I had the flu, maybe get some medication. So when I was there, they was like, no, it doesn't look like it, but your blood pressure is a little high. Here, take some pills, go home. So if you can, look at January, February, March, April, at least 4 times, 1 time each month, I went to the emergency room, not feeling good, could not get my comprehension together, just feeling like I need to lay down. And then when I got up, it just felt like I was not energized. I just did not have any energy. I did not have any get up and go. And so the one time they said, well, have you ever been diagnosed with high blood pressure? Okay, well, go find you a doctor, get on some pills, and here's a nitro. We're going to bring it down and send you home. So they kept sending me home. It wasn't until, it's a funny joke, but coffee saved my life. I went and got a cup of coffee one morning that literally sent my blood pressure through the roof. And I remember just really being lethargic. I could not, I'm speaking, but I could not speak. So almost kind of half stroke, half heart attack at the same time. Went to the emergency room. And that was the one time I truly did pray and say, God, do not let them let me go until they find out what's wrong. And while I was there, my blood pressure kept climbing. The last number was 210 over 108. And so when it got that high, they gave me nitro after nitro. They gave me some other stuff to try to bring it down. Then they just kind of had to crash me. And so then it kind of still was, kind of like lackadaisy, like, well, what we're going to do is we're going to do a catheter test. You might have some blockage, a little somewhere. We'll just, if there is, we'll just put a little stent in there, and everything will be fine. So I'm laying in there by myself. I'm like, okay, trying to comprehend all this. But when the doctor came in after the test, he said, well, you made it here right on time. You're 90% clogged and a massive heart attack would have taken you out. We'll see you in the morning at 7:30 for a surgery. You're going to have triple bypass surgery, and walked out. So you're left there to like, can someone give me a little bit more explanation on what just happened and why? So going to the ER, blood pressure again, high. You have to take, now what I do is, and I know, because I'm with Aurora, I don't know if Aurora is everywhere, but my test results are always uploaded. I look at every last one of them test results. I Google it to find out what is it for, what is the normal range, how do I get it in normal range. I am so serious now when it comes to my lab work. So you have to be mindful of that. But again, like she was saying, as women, you're a mother, I'm a daughter, I had a mom, and stuff like that was sick and ill. You have all these things going on. So you just think that it's the weight of the world on you. And so therefore, believe it or not, women, we more so ignore symptoms than men do. Men are quick, they're a little bit quicker and say they don't feel good, they'll go to the emergency room. We'll just chalk it off of having a bad day, stress, the kids did this, the car this, and whatever else. You can't do that. You have to get into that place in your body where you listen, and it lets you know that something is wrong. So for 4 months, I was misdiagnosed and I kept being sent home, just saying, hey, you got high blood pressure, take some pills. Okay, well, let's adjust the pills. Okay, we'll take some more pills. Until finally, it's like you kind of look at them when they come in with that last diagnosis and you look at them like, why you guys didn't find this earlier? Why did I have to keep coming? And then for you to tell me I almost died, had a couple more days and I could have died in order for you to take notice. So I'm not too much blaming the health professionals, but what I am saying is open your mouth and ask questions. You are paying your insurance. Your insurance are paying them. Just like any other service that you pay for, you need to get the best quality service that you can. And the one last thing before I close is if you do not have health insurance, do not make that judgment call on whether you want the bill or not. Okay, go make the bill. Who cares about the bill? Because there's been many times, even in moving forward with other health issues, that you really and truly don't want to make that bill. You don't want the debt collectors calling. You don't want this, that, and the other. But I'd rather live and pick up the phone and tell them I'll send them $5. Then to be 6 feet under, so never let that ever be a choice on whether you want to make that bill or not. Go to the doctor, bug them, get on their nerves, get your results, get your peace, and be able to move on for life there. We rather, again, have you in the land of the living than not being here and worried about some type of bill.
Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Baloris, you have given us a whole word with your testimony, and we know that there are many more pieces to this story. One of the things that you've talked about is the stress that we carry as Black women. Dr. Charles alluded to it earlier, that when we think about our risk for heart disease, yes, we need to know our family history. How many of you know your family history of heart disease and other conditions? If you know it, raise your hand. If your hand is not up, start talking to your family now. Ask your parents, your elders, your auntie, your grandma, your siblings, your cousins, whoever's available. Ask questions, know your history, go to your doctor's appointments,
right?
Eat a healthy diet, exercise. I saw your slide, Dr. Charles, that says only 36% of Black women are meeting the recommended amount of exercise per week that is necessary to maintain a healthy heart and body, which is 30 minutes a day, 5 days a week. That is so less complicated than we think it is. And we know why it looks complicated, because of the stress, because of work, families. We're managing multiple responsibilities. And when we get up in the morning or get home at night, sometimes we say, oh my goodness, how could I do one more thing? How could I carve out another 30 minutes or an hour to do something that sounds like it's going to make me more tired than I already am? But I am a testimony walking to tell you, and being stuck in that cycle for many years as a mother of 5, wife of a family of 7, with a whole full-time job and many responsibilities. At 48 years old, I had to decide that I wanted to live with risk on both sides of my family. And I found the time to practice self-care in a way I had not done before. I've been exercising for 3 months consistently, and it has given me new energy, new life, right? And I feel so incredibly wonderful. And I want every Black woman on this call to know that your life is worth taking that 30 minutes every day to go walk, to move your body. I see Sister Carla Gaines, our board member, go to the pool, right? Swim some laps. That's been the thing for her. For others, it's weight training. Aaliyah's been going to the gym doing strength training. Mary walks frequently with her mother. We've got ambassadors, Anik, who walk frequently, Rita, Shelton Henderson, who's here. Find what works for you and move your body. Why that is so incredibly important. We've got to find ways to manage our stress in healthy ways, because we often say that heart disease is the #1 killer of Black women. But truthfully, stress is the underlying root cause to this and so many of our chronic illnesses. And we know that stress is tied, as Dr. Charles said, to structural and systemic forces like racism, discrimination, the struggles we face in our families and communities. But what we can control today is how we operate amongst those pressures and how we take care of ourselves. We must do it. Dr. Charles, why must we talk about stress and managing stress in this conversation about heart disease?
Oh, it's so important. There was a recent study that looked at over 3,000 middle-aged women and found that women that were more stressed, who felt like difficulty controlling their day-to-day life because of work, childcare, they were more likely to have high blood pressure. They were more likely to be overweight. They were more likely to have unhealthy eating habits just to cope with the day-to-day. So stress is not something that can be ignored. You have to tackle it head on, asking for help. I know sometimes that can be difficult for us, or prioritizing things. I only need to get these 3 things done today. Everything else can wait until another time. That is a really important thing to assess, because it'll affect our health. And there are actually cardiac diseases, something called stress-induced heart failure, that particularly affects people with severe stresses. stresses, something called coronary artery dissection. That is a different way that women can have heart attacks after experiencing severe stress. So really come to terms with the sources of stress, making time for self-care, meditation, prayer, looking for assistance with medicines if you need to for anxiety and depression, really also making that a focus. You can't be well physically if you're not well emotionally, so not ignoring that.
Absolutely. We will stand on a mountaintop. And if you hear or remember nothing else from this call, which we know you'll remember a lot, is Black women, we must stomp out stress in our lives. There's normal levels of stress, but we've got to manage stress if there's nothing else we do, and come up with a practice of self-care, self-preservation that feels good, that feels good and feels right, and that we integrate in our daily routine that becomes a natural part of how we wake up in the morning, how we live throughout our day, how we close out our night. It has to become second nature, habit, and to prioritize that first. Pastor Baloris, what would you add to the role of stress, to your experience?
So the one thing that I wanted to, there was somebody that made a comment that said that they were adopted. And I'll give you the inside of my story. I'm also adopted. And I did not find out until age 30 that I was adopted. So I did not have family history also at that time. But what I do want to tell, I believe that it was Deanna Wright, make sure that you go to the doctor, get all of your lab work done, because no matter what the history is from them, it's still about what you're dealing with now or what your results are now. And if you continue on that, as far as making sure you do your yearly visits to both your regular doctor and your OBGYN, then you should be covered throughout the year and know that if any issues arise. So I agree with you that I'm also adopted, but we can do it. The one thing when it comes to, as far as the cause of mine, the doctor did come in and say stress, once they, because they come in after the surgery, not before the surgery, to kind of do, not like a psych evaluation, but they kind of like want to know, what are your home life like? What is this? What is that? And then speaking everything that, had happened in my life, the doctor says stress is an accelerant, and more than likely, even though you had the bad cholesterol, your life of stress actually accelerated it. And so therefore, it's very important that you understand how to manage stress. So you say, how do I do that? I got 2 kids, I got a husband, I got a job, I got school, I got this, and I got that. The Strength of a Woman, the book that I wrote, The Strength of the Woman, was birthed out of another health issue that I was going through. And the doctor said, I'm sorry, Dr. Charles, excuse me, but the doctor said I needed to be off for 14 days. And I only took off 3 days. I had to go back to work because work does not take doctor's excuses. Mm-hmm. And so when my job was really on me about being back so early from a procedure that I had, I kind of sat at my desk and I kind of just was like, they don't understand. I don't get an option to take off. I have to make sure that I'm able to take care of myself. And right at that moment, I thought about all of you women. I thought about how many other women in life really don't get an option to take off or to take time or to relax or any of that. And so the book was birthed out of trying to encourage women in finding your strength and finding ways to de-stress your life in order to be able to still function normally. And number one, not run into health issues, not run into burnout, not run into, all kinds of, today is not the day, don't play with me kind of attitude. So I really write about that. And the one chapter that I really love is No Time for a Breakdown. But guess what? The chapter really is telling you, you have to take time for those mental breakdowns. You have to take time and go away and yell, scream, cry. I don't care what you have to do. But every month you have to detox your emotions and get that stuff out. However it is you got to get out in a safe way, and in order to be able to come back ready to tackle on what you have to. If you don't make time for those breakdowns, I'm sorry, we're going to be cleaning you up on aisle 5 on Kroger's where it's going to finally catch up with you, and the tears are going to start overflowing at the wrong place at the wrong time. And if anybody else, as I said, raise your hand. Have you ever had all of a sudden you think you're having a good day and all of a sudden your emotions overwhelm you and you just start crying uncontrollably for nothing? Well, that's because your emotional box has gotten so full and you haven't taken time to process all those things that are aggravating and irritating you out. And you have to be able to do that. So that's why stress, we got to deprogram stress. Amen.
Absolutely. We got to be proactive about stress. There's so much fire in the chat right now on this. I know that there are women on this call today. I know there are women who are invited by friends to be here in this conversation today who are actively confronting health challenges around heart disease, around stroke, around diabetes. We hope that you all are taking notes. We hope that you're seeing that taking action is critical today. We're hoping that you're seeing and hearing solutions on how you can get started on the right track. We hope you're hearing the urgency of being in touch with your healthcare provider first thing Monday morning. And we also hope that you're inspired by all the comments women are making about the things they're actively doing to manage stress. Aaliyah, what are we hearing about? I saw women saying that they row, that they walk. What are they telling us? Someone does Taibo. What are the good things that we hear women doing in the chat?
Yeah, I think that people are aware. They're talking about how much water they should drink. They're talking about foods that will make them the most healthy. They're talking about activities that they enjoy, whether outside, which right now is difficult, but also things you can find on YouTube. We've been promoting, of course, Project Live Well, which is still open for registration, and how powerful a community of healthy women together pushing each other to reach our goals is so powerful. So we're talking about that in the chat as well. Folks have been successful on different eating plans that work for them. So there's just a plethora of information of how we can come together to reach our individual and collective goals towards health.
Absolutely. There's so much we want to continue to talk about. We're going to ask a few more questions as we prepare for our fitness segment in a little bit. But right now we want to get back to, one point I want to make when we talk about stress, when we talk about mental health. I just typed in the chat, don't be afraid or ashamed to go get you some therapy. Okay, Black women need therapy too. If you're walking around and you're carrying things, if you've got traumas, dramas, hurt places that you know haven't healed, if you've been in distress and you felt this way for an extended period of time and it's not changing, you feel heavy in your soul, y'all. I'm talking about your soul, that deepest part of your heart. Go get yourself some therapy. Right now, you can start with prayer. Absolutely. Who prays every day or as often as they? Yes, you can start with meditation. Who meditates? You know, prayer and meditation are easy go-tos. Who has a friendship circle or at least one friend that they can call as a confidant to say, girl, I'm not feeling well. I just need you to talk me off this ledge. We have to have that. But therapy, there's been a lot of shame in our community, a lot of taboo around talking about needing professional help. I love therapy. I have therapy every other week, and I wouldn't trade it in for anything. And it's for me. It's like self-care, self-preservation. It's like the tune up and the tool up that I need to stay in a place of equilibrium. And I'm an advocate for it. Please. And I know that there are other women here who've shared with us very openly. They love their therapy. If therapy is something you feel you need, it's not about what your family will think about you if you go to therapy. It's not about any of that. It's about what you need to be healthy, mind, body, and spirit. So please, Black women, go seek therapy if that is what you need. Baloris, what is life like today? What has recovery been like for you? We know it's been 10 years. We imagine that you had to adopt new habits, a new way of thinking. You shared with me on the phone the other night, and maybe Dr. Charles, you can also speak to this after Baloris, that it took you a minute to stop being afraid. Like anything and everything you felt, you thought it was a heart episode, and you had to relearn how to feel safe in your body. Tell us a bit about that journey.
Well, as you can imagine, as I said, when the doctor literally, I can't make this up, when he came in his white coat and just gave me those words that I made it just in time, massive heart attack would have taken me out. and see you in the morning for surgery. I wasn't left with hope. All I was left with was death before me. And so even though I learned how to diet, I learned how to exercise, I learned how to count calories. They could teach me how to diet, exercise, and count calories, but they couldn't teach me how to live again. And learning to live again, that's that, building that faith again, building that trust and that hope again, that even if today is the day, I have to be right with God. And so just learning how to live again and really enjoy every moment in life, learning how to de-stress, in life. You walk in my house, just like, people walked in our house on last week and said, it's so peaceful here. I set the atmosphere to my home. I don't allow anything else or anyone else to come in and disrupt my atmosphere. I will put on my meditation music. I will let that play. If I need scriptures to play, I'll let that play. If I need somebody else to pray for me, I'll let a prayer play. But I set the atmosphere in my home. So when I come here, it's peaceful. So the road to recovery also too is, food is out there, y'all. And food keeps reinventing itself in the most grandest way. So it is very hard to stay away from food, but it is a choice first. And then it becomes a lifestyle. I had a picture, but I knew I couldn't show it. But, I lost close to 110 pounds for where I come from. But that was a journey. And it was a choice that I had to make each and every day until it became a lifestyle. I love what the doctor said. At first, you're not going to like the food bland. But now, don't put no salt on my food. Now, I don't like it. I don't want it. So it took time to be able to adjust. Never get down and hard on yourself because it is a process. Never stop and quit and think that you're not going to do it, you're not going to make it, because it is a process. I had almost 39 years of learning how to eat bad. It wasn't going to take me 39 days to learn how to uneat bad. So it is a process that you have to go through. So be patient with yourself when it comes to that process. And then God had jokes. I met a professional bodybuilder and personal trainer and ended up marrying him. So I don't have an option no more not to be at the gym. So God was like, you're going to remain healthy because I'm going to give you somebody that's going to help you. So that has been a journey too, because again, he's, patient with me. He came with 38 years of discipline. He's been doing this for 38 years, bodybuilding and competition. So I don't have 38 years of discipline. So it's something that I had to learn. So again, I just want you to be patient with yourself on this journey, in your change. If you fall, get back up, try it again. I always say, celebrate your journey. If you ate, used to eating cookies every night and you only had cookies one night this week, praise God. I celebrate you because you're taking the steps to getting better. So don't go down on yourself and be like, oh, I messed up. No, get back up. Give it another try, give yourself another goal in order to be able to reach and know that you can do it. So my road to recovery has been mental, spiritual, and physical, because again, you have to bring it all together. You can't leave one part out. It all has to work together, because when this body feels weak, then my spirit takes over and say, nope, you can do it. Nope, come on, we got to do it. No, we got to go walk. No, we got to, that's not my mind and my body agreeing on that. That's an override with the spirit. That mentally that I can do it.
Absolutely. We feel so much encouragement and so much hope. We see very hopeful comments in the chat. We've loved your comment, Baloris, about first, it's, we have the choice, right? And then it has to become habit. It could be as simple as, that picture that Dr. Charles showed earlier, that spicy Chick-fil-A sandwich. It could make the difference of you buying that sandwich or going through the drive-through to get a salad instead with grilled chicken on top and a bottle of water instead of the milkshake that you get with the spicy chicken sandwich. Small habits, right? I know y'all know what I'm talking about, those milkshakes at Chick-fil-A, but it begins with changing habits, and it can be a very small change. But as you make a small change, we're not talking about dramatic life overhaul overnight, because rarely is that sustainable, but it's the daily small changes that you consistently make consciously, knowing that with every better choice, you are preserving your life. your beauty. And I'm gonna tell you, that's significant as I look out on this call at these beautiful women, at us, this beautiful reflection of us. We are working to preserve this beauty, this life force, this energy, this presence. So as you face difficult choices, just think of this image today of yourself and all of us here and what it is that you're truly fighting for, you. Dr. Charles, what would you add to, as women recover? We've got a lot of folks recovering. We've got a lot of women trying to prevent being in this space. What is your best advice to women who are trying to get healthier, remain healthier, to stay healthy as they are now?
I would say never underestimate the power that lies within. We are so much stronger than each of us thinks, each of us knows, really taking full control over everything. Pastor Baloris, as you share your powerful journey, really knowing that even if you've been diagnosed with a cardiac event, that is frequently a new beginning, the start of something wonderful, the start of the ability to make powerful changes that will prevent you from ever having that happen again, as opposed to not knowing it and continuing those bad habits that could ultimately lead to death. So that's really important, knowing that even though I laid out the recommendations of a certain amount of minutes and this, anything that you do better than that you did the day before, like you said, is something to be celebrated. If you move for 10 minutes today instead of not moving at all, I will take that. And I really want to emphasize the fact about knowing your numbers. And that's because studies have showed that there's bias among physicians. Studies have shown that African Americans and Black women are undertreated when it comes to cholesterol and diabetes and high blood pressure. And that even though none of us really likes taking medicines, if you need to take them, understanding that with healthy lifestyle changes, sometimes you may not need to take them in the future, and having a good relationship with your doctor and really feeling like you trust them and you can tell them what works, what doesn't work, and what needs to change. Really powerful stuff.
Absolutely. Aaliyah.
Thank you. I have a question for you. It's both personal but important. I've shared my story a number of times, and in fact, at Wear Red Day years ago as a survivor, at 26 years old in my third pregnancy, my heart failed. And so I want to ask, why are pregnant or postpartum Black women 45% more likely to die in the hospital or be at a higher risk for heart problems? What is the correlation between pregnancy and heart failure?
So sorry to hear about your story. We know that Black women are 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications, heart failure, heart attack, and stroke compared to white counterparts. And there are a lot of things that go into that. There is increased cardiovascular risk factors, higher risk of high blood pressure, obesity. There's the real fact that symptoms are usually not addressed as powerfully by medical professionals. We know that when the most prominent and wealthiest among us, like Serena and Beyonce, talk about not having their symptoms heard, that's a real issue. So having a provider that will take what you say that's not right and act on it. Sometimes we're not monitored as closely. So with high blood pressure turning into preeclampsia and all of those things, really being aware about that and knowing that symptoms can happen after delivery, like things like heart failure and other things. So if you are worried that your swelling is more than what you think it should be, or your breathing is heavier than it should be, or your headache just won't go away, not hesitating to get it evaluated. It's way better to be wrong and have it be a simple issue than to miss something that could have been corrected. So all of those things factor in the equation, but as Black women, we need to be vigilant about finding providers we trust and really being an advocate for ourselves and our symptoms.
That was such a critical question, Aaliyah. As many of you may know, the Foundation for Black Women's Wellness is deeply engaged in work around Black maternal and child health here in Dane County and Wisconsin. We've been working for the last 5 years with our health systems to really create a strategy to address our highest in the nation Black infant mortality rates and our 5 times greater rate of maternal mortality, which means Black women dying in pregnancy and as a result of pregnancy. We lead in those statistics, in Wisconsin. Is unacceptable. It's been a persistent problem. And a lot of it is related to what you just shared, Dr. Charles. We're tying a lot of the causes back to undiagnosed pre-existing conditions that some physicians are not identifying. They're not looking closely enough. We've got this this longstanding distrust between our community and physicians. And it's just a loop that is really causing great consequences in our health during and after pregnancy for ourselves and our babies. So this is a great intersecting question and conversation today. And we hope that you will follow along with the Saving Our Babies work that we're doing here and in Wisconsin as Black women who need to understand this issue and all its connecting pieces. Baloris, how has your experience now led to you becoming an advocate for Black women's heart health, but Black women's health and well-being overall?
I needed to be a voice, not just because I love speaking, but I needed to be a voice. The reason being is because when I looked at that moment, if we look at, age 40, when the heart surgery happened, but my life before, and I just shared with you guys that I didn't find out I was adopted to age 30. So I was already dealing with crisis issues, plus being a mother of 2 boys, plus being a wife, plus having a sick mom, plus father, you understand what I'm saying? So I had to be a voice because up until age 40, I was in a lot of traumatic experiences that I didn't have understanding on how to process all that. Okay, so then now from age 40, now I'm age 50, life still didn't stop, y'all. I still had other health issues I've been diagnosed with, which is bilateral hyperaldosteronism. The doctor probably knows exactly what I'm talking about, and that shot my blood pressure up for a long time before they diagnosed me with that. So life didn't stop, still a mother, still a wife, still, dealing with health issues, going through menopause. Shh, don't talk too loud on that one. So life still goes on. And so there's somebody that has to be able to talk and say, hey, we got to bring these subjects to the table. And then also to have a safe place. And I love the questions and the comments in order to get more information instead of just assuming and instead of Googling. My sister always told me, would you stop Google doctoring yourself? Instead of doing that, but having real life conversation with people that went through these real life stories in order for you to be able to have an understanding. So it's very important for me to be an advocate that way. But also too, what we need to take, we need to support one another. I love to support other women, in what you're doing. I love to celebrate other women because again, we don't get that enough. We try to say this real quick. We try to, what I'm trying to say, size ourselves up with social media, reality TV, Beyonce and everybody else. And you feel that you're not worthy. You feel that you don't have enough value or enough. And guess what? Because us as women, we're always subtracting it from each other. No, I want to be the one to put more seeds and put more value in it and help to, increase your awareness of who you are. Because from then, once you're in that zone of peace, kind of where I had to get to now you can't tell me nothing. Now I can conquer the world, whether it's a health issue or anything else. Now I feel like I'm ready to be able to do this thing called life. And now I had to find it out at age 50 and don't know how much time I had, but at least now I can enjoy the rest of my life in peace, knowing even when problems and situations come, Baloris, you know how to handle this.
Right. Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
I'm loving this conversation and I would talk about this all day. It's so important and you guys are so engaging and so informative. So I want to thank you for that. But in closing of this portion of our program today, Dr. Charles and Baloris, what closing message do you want to leave with our guests today? Let's begin with Dr. Charles.
Yeah, so really just a summary of everything that I mentioned. knowing that nobody is excluded from that risk of heart disease, no matter how great you look and you feel, even if you're exercising and doing all the right things, really working with your doctor to know what the hidden risks are. I tell people that anything that you make and eat at home is far better than anything you could eat on the outside. Somebody said before, food is reinventing itself. Everyone's trying to sell something healthy, knowing that even those salads that you get on the outside can be worse than some of the burgers. So really knowing what you're eating and paying attention to that, really knowing 80% of heart disease is preventable, making every day a day that you can make yourself, your family, your children better, and not being afraid to take medicines and working with your doctor, the right doctor, if you need that in your life.
Thank you, Dr. Charles. Every day is a choice, every day. I love that. Baloris, last words for our guest.
My last word that came to me, forgive. Forgive. Most of our stress, women, comes because we don't forgive. Whatever happened, forgive. Whatever is still happening, forgive. Learn to let it go to find your peace. Again, you only get one life. You only get one body. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to control your environment, control your surroundings, control what comes in your ears, out of your ears, and everything else. Control all that in order so you have the peace that you're looking for. And, and as the doctor said, learn yourself. The best question is, who are you? Do you know who you are? Do you know your purpose? Start digging into those things and really finding out about you and the complexity of you, but also the wonderfulness of you, because in that will give you the light that you need in order to, now it's not so bad to go out there for that 30-minute walk. You want to take that 30-minute walk because you value yourself and you want to invest in yourself. So when you start finding out more about who you are, the rest will come naturally and easily. But my biggest word is forgive. Forgive all of them. Forgive everybody. Now, I don't care if they stole your bike. Forgive them for stealing your bike. Whatever it is, let's learn to let it go and relax and enjoy life. Before, again, mine could have ended at 40. I thank God he's given me some more years. We don't want your life to end before you've enjoyed it. Amen?
Amen. Amen. Let's do a collective amen. Hallelujah and everything to that. And thank our two incredible panelists today, Dr. Sandy Charles, Pastor Baloris Brooks Mann. We are grateful for you. There are so many positive comments. We hear amens. We see thank yous. We know folks are inspired. They are imbued with information. You've left us with incredible, powerful tools to go forward beyond this call today. We will circle back with both of you after the call, and please trust we will invite you back into our space. Again, this has been lovely. And for those of you who asked lots of questions, more than we can answer today, we will chronicle your questions and we will get back to you post-event with many of the answers to your questions. Of course, you can follow Dr. Sandy Charles on Instagram, and I'm sure you can drop her a question or two in her inbox, and you can reach out to Pastor Baloris as well. I'm sure she'd be happy to make Facebook friends with several of you here today. Just one shout out to Emily Songolo, who I see in the middle of my screen, who I know is a survivor of heart disease, who is living and thriving today. I just want to honor and acknowledge you today, my beautiful sister, Emily, for being in this space and acknowledging all the survivors in this space who are truly living their best life today. With that, we have another exciting segment for fitness, and I'm going to turn it over to Aaliyah to introduce Coach Venus Washington. So get ready to move your bodies. Don't leave, because after our fitness segment, there's prizes. Aaliyah.
Yes, we've been sitting and we've been listening and we've been talking about moving our bodies, and now we're going to move our bodies all together right now. So I want to introduce, so you're going to come out your jackets or whatever you need to do. That's what I'm going to do to get my workout on. But a friend of the foundation for sure, Venus Washington. She is a health and fitness entrepreneur, founder of CEO of Venus Inspires, and developer and head coach of Madison Elite Track Club. Venus Inspires is a health and wellness company that encourages individuals to start their health and wellness journey from within. So we were just talking about that with Baloris, starting it from within. Venus does this by helping clients figure out what's stopping them, what's getting in the way from getting what we want, and how do we keep it. So Venus teaches free fitness classes for seniors, free fitness classes. So we'll have to get that information. She's also a social influencer with the WPP program, connecting African-American community to COVID-19 updates and resources, as we do at the foundation. Her philosophy is the more we practice awareness of ourselves in the present moment, the more connected to ourselves we are. That is beautiful. So without further ado, we're going to pass it over to Venus, and we are going to get our fitness on.
All right, hello everyone. Everybody looks so beautiful in their red. So welcome to the 10th annual Wear Red Day. So I'm gonna get you guys up and moving and get you a heart healthy workout. All right, so you guys are ready? You ready? And I love all the comments that was said, talking about mental, emotional, spiritual, and also physical. So let's take this moment to use it as like a mindful moment of connecting to our body. But we're gonna have fun while we're doing it. All right, let's get to it. Make sure you got water. All right, stand it up. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Encore. Come on. Hey. I know you're looking good. You don't want to sweat. You can glisten. Come on. Come on. Step it out. Give it up for your love. Give it up for your heart. Over the top. Keep smiling. Mind it off. I bring the arms across the chest. Make sure you breathe and breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth. Move those hips side to side. Now step. Give it up for yourself. Over the top. All that love you giving out, give yourself a clap. Good, now take it out nice and wide. Take it over to the side. Press back, keep your chest up. Other side. Stretch out those hips. Other side. Good, now you're gonna bring the arm down, 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 down. Breathe. Now you're gonna lift up the leg. Reach out to the spine. Press down to the floor, lift up. Take it down. Take it up. Feeling so good to move your body. Now take steps in a circle. Other way. Hey, other way. Triangle, reach up. Reach over the side. Breathe. Inhale, reach up, other side. Reach up. Press back. Press back. Good job. Make sure you're drinking water. Water is one good thing that you can always be incorporating. Water. Water. All right, how y'all feeling? That was the beginning. Now do your best and forget the rest. We getting our heart rate going. All right? Get those arms up. Kick it this way. Other way. Open up those arms. I am Christian Park. I am my inspiration. Come on. You got time to spin it. Now you want to turn and let it go. 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 What was something said? Give it that sweet tea. If it don't land, roll it back, no sleep. Roll it back, roll it back, roll it back. Get it off you. Come on off you. Now open up. I am my, this your part. I am my inspiration. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. If you got time, let's see. Turn and clap. Let's do it. Clap, 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 clap. Now flex it on. Flex, 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 flex it harder, 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 harder. Get your strength up. Open up. Here comes your part. I am my inspiration. I am my inspiration. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. If you got time to spin it, turn and clap. I am free, yeah. Come on, come on, come on. You got it. I am free, yeah. Come on, all right, good job. Woo, it ain't over. We got 15 minutes. You got this. Sometimes you just gotta tell yourself, you just gotta get through this. You just gotta get through this one. You just gotta get through it. Now turn your feet like this, turn to it. Just say, I just gotta get through this. I just gotta get through this. Push it off the chest. push, 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 push. Come on. You gonna get through it. Yeah, you will. Come on. Reach up for your strength. Grab it. It's there. Go get it. You got it. Keep reaching. Keep moving. Keep going. You got it. Keep reaching. Keep moving. You got it. Keep moving. You got it. Keep moving. You got it. Stepping off my head. Woo! You gotta get your mind ready. And then when people see you getting positive, here come that doubt. Here come that weakness. What you gonna do? Slam it down like ha, 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 ha. Keep sucking down. Weakness. That's off the chest. Push it off. Doubt. Get it off. Get it off. Push it off. Negativity. Push it off. Get it off. Get it off. Push it off. Come on. Come on. Come on. Reach up for your strength. It's there. You got it. You gotta move. You gotta reach. You gotta move. You gotta reach. You gotta grab it. Keep reaching. Reach. 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 Keep going. You got this. You got it. You got it. Stepping up like woo. Woo. When you going down that healthy wellness journey, it's hard. You feel like you want to give up. You just keep telling yourself, I got this. Push through it. Get it. Ha. 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 Come on. Come on. Get it. Get it. You just got to get through this. Ha. 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 Off the chest. Push it. What's not serving you no more? What you gotta push away? Push away. Ha. That is not helping. Push it away then. Get it off. Get it off. Get it. Don't forget about your strength. Grab it. It's there. It's yours. Reach. It's there. It's yours. You got it. Got it. Get that water. You listening yet? Now you went through the hard stuff. Now you just need to walk into your greatness. Move those shoulders. Visualize yourself. Walk into it. Walk into your life. Finding your way back to you. Remember who you are. Move. Feel it. It's in you. You feel it in your body as you move. Find your way back. Take it back. Remember who you are. You got this. You just got to find your way right back. Keep marching. Keep lifting. Feeling your body. Reach up. Move those wrists, move those hips, move those shoulders. Feeling good in your body. Remember. Reach up, open up to your life. Open up, hold up. Finding your way back to you. Bring the elbows back, lift up. Breathe. Reach back up. Being mindful right here in the moment, taking it in. Bring it back. Lifting up. Bring your hands on your hips, take some circles. You got this. You going back to you. Bring your one leg forward. Maybe you just do one new thing, one new healthy thing to help your heart health. You commit to moving every day. You walk, listen to your favorite music. Lift up, switch, push back. Because there's a lot of great resources. You don't want to get overwhelmed. Pick one thing that you can be consistent with all the time. What can you be consistent with? Lift up, take it up. Bring your head down. Up. Take the arms across. Finding your way back, one step at a time. One step at a time. You just keep going. You'll be just fine. Inhale, reach up. Exhale out. Inhale, reach up. Exhale out. Inhale, open up to good, positive energy, love, and light. Give yourself a hug and a kiss. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Great job, everyone. Oh yeah, you can find me on my Facebook page, Venus Inspires Personal Trainer, and also with the Black Women's Wellness, because I'm teaching some of their classes. So.
Thank you, Venus. Thank you. Let's clap up Coach Venus. Woo! Coach Venus, you had us doing a little bit more than listening. We were sweating over here. I saw some women had to pick up their papers and fan themselves. I saw some water bottles flying. It felt really good. And thank you, ladies, for modifying where you needed to modify. Please follow Coach Venus. She's one of our favorite fitness coaches, life coaches, wellness champions in our community across our state. And we are very grateful to have her as one of our Project Live Well instructors. Project Live Well has started. We'll drop that link in the chat again. Those are weekly free fitness and yoga classes that we offer year round. You can make fitness easy to jump into by joining us for Project Live Well. Wow, how many of you are feeling good? Show of hands. Yes, I saw wonderful participation. What we know from research is 15 minutes, you all, and sometimes 10 minutes of vigorous, steady, heart-raising activity every day can make the difference in our health. You don't have to exercise for an hour. You don't have to do heavy weight training at the gym to see a difference. What we just did for a few minutes of our whole day can make a mighty powerful difference in your health. So please continue to move at home. And now for our final segment, I do see another question. We'll get to the question in just a moment. What actionable steps? Oh yes, that's our chat question. You want to ask that question, Aaliyah, as we get ready to do our prize segment?
Yeah, I mean, we've learned a lot today, lots of tips and tricks that we can do. What are you going to commit to today? Pop that in the chat. What actionable steps are you going to take away from today? We want to hear it from you.
Yes, let us know. Let us know how you've been impacted by this event, by the information you've heard, what you're going to take forward, what you're going to do starting today. On my way to the pool, says Carla Gaines. I love that. And now our very own Erin Winston, program manager, will join us to do the honors for our prize segment. We have been watching, we've been listening, and we'll start with a few prizes. So stay tuned. Erin.
Well, first things first, we're always going to say thank you to our special guests. So Dr. Charles and Pastor Baloris Brooks, you all can expect a swag bag. So don't be surprised when they show up on your doorstep. All right. We'll get you all figured out for sizes, etc. once we get through today. So we just wanted to say we have been paying attention to everyone who's had their videos on, who has been dropping amazing questions into the chat. We thank you so much for being involved with our event today. We're so excited that you are taking an active consideration of your own health and are looking to take forward steps for all of us, because one Black woman and one Black woman can start to engage their family and community around them to make a full change for the society and world around us. So without further ado, here we go with these awesome prizes. We have been watching. Y'all have some pretty amazing hats and outfits on. Folks are engaged. We're super excited. So for the first one, and I kind of knew it was going to be a Delta, it's red, it's always those things. But for the best red outfit today, cracking out in the plaid in the background is Miss Carla Gaines. Carla, we have a $100 Amazon gift card for you. So you can go ahead and invest in some kind of exercise equipment or things that you need to start you on your heart healthy way. And we know you've been working really hard in the pool. So congratulations on that. We have next a $75 Amazon gift card for the most engaged. That goes to local person, Corinda Rainey Moore, who is always super engaged. So we're super excited to see her come in today. Go Corinda, keep it up. And then in the background, most live. So who's amping us up the entire time we've been here? Been excited, snapping, clapping, super smiley in the background. That is Valise Adams. So we're super excited. I hope I said your name right. If I've said anybody's name wrong, I'm really, really sorry. There's a lot. So that's great. And to kick off our first swag bag, which I'm going to go ahead and show what's going to go on in that swag bag really quick so you guys can see what's going on in that swag bag. We have some new items, including the red shirts that you see us, the Well Black Women special heart shirts that we have for Wear Red Day. You'll also get this really amazing wristband, as well as one of our Well Black Women masks, so you can be safe and mask up as you're out. So those swag bags will be going out. So the first person to be getting one today is actually getting one for their amazing hat that they had on today, and that is for Cynthia Lawson. So we saw you. It was cute. I'm gonna go ahead and stop that screen real quick. So then next, we have a Target gift card in the amount of $50 for Dana Warren. You were randomized and picked out. So we have these remaining prizes that we just randomized everyone's name into, and the system drew out these names. We're super excited. We're hoping that these virtual gift cards that we're sending to you will be used for your wellness journeys, whether you're buying fresh foods or equipment that you need to continue in a heart healthy way for your life. Next up, we have a $50 Whole Foods gift card, and that's going to Andrea Smith. So if you've got that, congratulations. Next up, another gift card for Whole Foods for $25. That's going to Olayinka Cheyenne Bola. I think I got the last name correct. She's a cool pharmacist, professor over in the UW School of Pharmacy. So we know she's about the business. Congratulations on that. Next, we have for Jalen S. a $25 gift card to Walgreens to help you on your wellness way. So congratulations on that. And then next, I know this name, so we'll see, Miss Yvonne Greer from Milwaukee. She's one of our nutritionists for the Project Live Well program, so that's exciting. A $25 gift card to Walgreens for you, Yvonne. And then for our final two gifts, which are a swag bag, which I shared before, you'll be able to pick out your shirt that you want from our stock. We have Nazra Weheli. I always mispronounce your last name. I'm sorry for that. And then for the second and the last gift bag that we have, Miss Augustine Murray. So you all will be contacted via email that you use to register for today's event sometime in the next couple of business days by our staff at the foundation. And once you respond to that email, we will go ahead and get your mailing information and your digital information, make sure that we're sending everything to the proper place. So thanks everyone again.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Erin, for that. And as you all know, all of our events throughout the year that we host often come with opportunities to earn wellness, sustaining, and supporting prizes. So we encourage you to follow us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Black Women's Wellness Day, on Instagram at instagram.com/BWW Day Founder. And of course, to just be in touch with us, sign up for our mailing list. Because you register for today's event, you'll be automatically added to our e-blast service that sends out monthly messages at minimum. Follow along, get involved, get engaged. This program today is one example of the life-saving education and outreach and investment we make in Black women 365 days a year. And we know you will leave with tools and resources, and most of all, inspiration to improve your health. I want to say again how beautiful it is to be in this space with all of you. I want to call you all by name so badly, but I know we don't have time. I want to thank folks who joined us for the very first time. If this is your first event for the foundation, wave your hand really quickly and let us know you'll be back. We're so grateful that women have tuned in from across our state, from across our country, and we look forward to getting to know you better throughout the year. Before we close, Aaliyah, what are we hearing about what women are going to take action on after today? You're muted.
There we go. I was too excited. I was putting all of our partners, our Pink Lily fundraiser, our partner Ash Row in the chat, our Project Live Well, but there's a commitment to really getting up and moving. And we heard here today, whether it's 10 minutes or several 15 minutes throughout the day, folks are committed to monitoring their salt intake, committed to being in accountability circles, committed to forgiving themselves. So also doing the internal work that drives our external eating. So there's so much in there. People are really grateful. People are really excited.
Awesome. And with that, you all, we have come to the conclusion of today's event. Before we sign off, we ask everyone who's with us, do a big smile. We're going to ask Aaron if you can screenshot our Wear Red Day photo. And I did sneak earlier while we were talking and asking questions, and I've taken several photos of all of you today, and you're going to love seeing yourself on social media. But right now, before we close, smile big. Aaron, maybe we can switch screens so we can get a couple shots. So on the count of 3, hold your smile. 1, 2, 3. And then we're gonna switch screens. If we can scroll over to the next screen and take a shot. Oh my goodness, hi Gia. Hi Erica, Yvonne, Miss Doris, Brenda, Carla, Dr. Henderson, smile. And then one more screen over. I think we've got 5 screens of beautiful women. Oh my goodness. Hey, Cassandra.
I got them all.
Got them all. Okay, I'm so excited. You guys look amazingly beautiful. Continue to wear your red today. Go outside with your mask on. Take a walk around the block just to show your beautiful selves off to the world. Remember that you are your greatest asset in advocating for your health, and take these words with you. Know thyself, love thyself, heal thyself. Our wellness starts with us, and we have all the power. We thank you. Be safe, be healthy, and we'll see you again soon. Happy Heart Day. We love you all. Take care. Bye. Thank you, Dr. Charles. Thank you, Pastor Baloris. Thank you, Venus.